Welcome to Lesson 11 of Migration Mastery, the one where we make the contrarian case. Last lesson, we measured the numbers. This one makes the cost argument. Migration is a project. Engineering days, risk, training, opportunity cost. And the blog posts cheering, "We moved to NGINX and it was great," are survivor bias. Nobody publishes the regret. By the end, you'll be able to defend a "don't migrate" decision upward with receipts. So let's start with 4 real cases where staying on Apache is the right call. First, workload mismatch. Lesson 10 showed NGINX wins on static, cached PHP, and TLS. But if you're 70% plus live PHP at low concurrency, internal dashboards, B2B SaaS, you'll lose 5 to 15%. Second, stability. 8 years, 99.95% uptime, 0 complaints, migration cost is real, the gain is imaginary. Third, your team knows Apache cold. Institutional knowledge beats a 2MS benchmark win. And fourth, when the web server is 5 ms of an 805 ms response, the bottleneck is somewhere else. Fix that instead. Now let's put real numbers on it. On the cost side, 3 to 6 weeks of 2 engineers, a probabilistic outage worth around 50 grand, 10 to 20 hours of training per head, delayed roadmap items, and double on-call load for a month after cutover. On the gain side, a performance bump only if your workload fits. Maybe 200 to 2 grand a month in infra savings, partial HTTP3, easier hiring. Stack them honestly, side by side, and the scale tips towards stay more often than the blog posts admit. And that spreadsheet is still incomplete because there are 4 costs no migration blog post will ever mention. First, the cognitive load tax. For 3 to 6 months, every engineer holds 2 mental models, and bug triage slows because nobody's sure which server returned that 502. Second, toolchain reinvestment. Every dashboard, alert rule, and runbook was written for Apache, and each one needs weeks of rework for NGINX parity. Third, scope creep. While we're in there, let's also upgrade PHP, containerize, switch to Cloudflare. And your 2-week migration quietly becomes a 4-month replatforming. And fourth, turnover. Migrations are stressful, engineers leave right after, and you lose institutional knowledge of both systems at the worst possible moment. So if migration is the wrong answer, what's the right one? Solve the actual problem. 9 times out of 10, we need NGINX is a disguise for one of 4 real issues. Site slow, profile first, Apache versus NGINX is under 5% of page time. Your bottleneck is a missing DB index or no CDN. Hosting bill high? Put Cloudflare in front and right-size your VMs. 60 to 80% off, no migration. Need 10 times traffic? Vertical scaling and a tuned worker MPM get you there. Compliance pressure? Auditors want documented configs and version control. Apache supports all of it. Migrating to NGINX doesn't satisfy the audit. Documenting what you have does. But solving the real problem isn't enough if you can't defend the decision upward. When leadership asks why you're not on NGINX like Company X, because it's overhyped, gets you overruled. You need 3 frameworks that land. First, the cost-justified counterproposal. Show the numbers, then offer 80% of the gain at 10% of the cost. Second, the risk-explicit comparison. Name the cut-over outage, the learning curve, the scope creep, and force them onto the ledger. Third, the measure-first delay. Propose a 1-week dual-running A/B test and let real traffic decide. Each one reframes you from contrarian to senior. Frameworks help you argue, but pattern recognition saves you earlier. Here are 5 red flags that mean a migration isn't actually an engineering decision. Everyone's on NGINX now. That's fashion, not data. Demand the specific metric you'd improve. It's great for the resume. Separate company ROI from career ROI. While we're at it, let's also rewrite CI and add Kubernetes. That's 4 projects pretending to be one. We'll figure issues out as we go. No, Show me the L07 playbook, and just do it Friday afternoon. Production cutovers happen Tuesday morning, never Friday. 2 or more of these together, the regret pile is already waiting. Which brings us to the deeper why. Saying no is a senior engineer's superpower, and 3 principles explain it. 1. Action bias is real. We're migrating sounds like progress. We're staying sounds like stagnation, but inaction is also an action, so pick the one with better ROI. 2. Make the invisible savings visible. Nobody celebrates the outage that didn't happen, so you have to point at the absence and name the budget it bought. 3. Reversibility is asymmetric. No, let's wait 6 months, you can undo. Yes, we deleted the Apache configs, you cannot. When uncertain, default to reversible. So here's your cheat sheet. 8 signals mapped straight to an action. Nginx winning your L10 benchmark by 2x or more. Migrate, the data earned it. Apache stable for 5 years with no complaints. Team with 0 Nginx experience. DB-bound response times. Those are stay every time. Traffic up 10x, compliance demanding HTTP 3, a cacheable WordPress site. Migrate. And if your champion's main argument is a tech blog they read this morning, that's a fashion red flag. 3 or more rows in 1 column wins. Print it, bring it to the meeting. Now, knowing the framework isn't the same as being able to use it under pressure. So 3 drills, 30 minutes each. First, build the cost spreadsheet for your real environment. Engineer days, outage probability, training hours, all of it. 2x safety on cost, half on gain. If it still pencils out, migrate. Second, reframe a fake VP request. Why aren't we on Nginx like Reddit? Into a 5-paragraph response that leads with curiosity, not opposition. Third, the conversation, out loud, with a peer playing an aggressive VP. Record it. Listen back. Iterate 3 times. By round 3, composure becomes muscle memory. And composure is what earns trust in the room. Even with the drills behind you, the don't migrate argument can still fail, and usually for the same 5 reasons. Saying it works fine without data sounds lazy. Calling Nginx overhyped sounds like ad hominem. Not proposing an alternative looks like you're protecting your fiefdom. Refusing to measure tells leadership you're afraid of the numbers. And raising the objection publicly before raising it privately is professional suicide. The fix for all 5 is the same shape. Pair no with measured data, acknowledge what the other tech does well, propose the cheaper path, agree to the benchmark, and have the hard conversation one-on-one first. The right call delivered badly is indistinguishable from the wrong call. And that closes lesson 11. You've got the cost math, the alternatives, the pushback frameworks, and the red flags. 4 tools that turn no from an opinion into a defensible engineering position. Next up is the capstone. Lesson 12 takes everything from L01 through L11 and collapses it into one decision tree, the senior engineer's mental model for picking by use case. See you there.